Hey everybody, this is Darren Lawes and this is the Darren Lawes Podcast. This is the first episode, and what I want to do in this episode is to go over a little bit about who I am, what I do, how I've got here, why you might want to listen to me, and how that might help your business. I help engineering and manufacturing businesses over £1 million in revenue to grow their companies and scale to enable an exit if they want one. Now, I do this by reverse engineering what a successful and scalable business looks like, uncovering the hurdles that are holding back growth. Every business has these hurdles, whether it's the processes for marketing or sales or manufacturing the product or how the finances are handled. There's always opportunity to uncover problems, remove the problems, and optimize processes further. Once we've identified what the current hurdles are and we've mapped the business out, we then optimize the business by implementing the systems and processes to generate the results that we're going to be looking for. This leaves the business owner with a business blueprint, also with a business that is wildly efficient, much easier to run, and enables them to get out of the day-to-day drama and running the business, which is often where a business owner gets stuck. And this is also what is holding the business back. This problem of the business owner being stuck in solving all the problems, being the point of contact for everything. And, we build these businesses around ourselves, and it's very difficult sometimes to get ourselves out of that. So that's kind of what I help a business owner to do. And I do this by implementing the structures that a multinational would have in place. And we can reverse engineer what success looks like and then implement this into any business. And it then allows the business to run on autopilot and gives the business owner that headspace back, the freedom and the ability to then look at the overview of the business and focus on the business rather than working in the business. So as I've said, part of this process also creates a business blueprint. This is the blueprint on how to run the business, and it covers everything in the business, from how you generate your leads to how you turn them into customers, how you recruit your staff, how you make decisions in the business, how you train your staff, how you deliver the result that you deliver, how you keep in touch with your prospects and customers, how you manufacture your products, and how you follow up with your customers, and everything else. It covers way more than this, but this gives you a snippet of what we're going to do and how we can implement all of this stuff into your business, optimize it, extract you, generate more growth, set the business up to scale, and then move forward from there. This whole process then helps to uncover the hidden opportunities that are lurking in the business and gives you a roadmap to materialize those hidden opportunities. It also enables the business to run on autopilot and gives you, the owner, the plan for the next 3 to 5 years of growth. Leads to a business that is much easier to run and scale and exit for a way better price and in a faster time frame than usual. So if you want to find out more about this process and how I can work with you, then just drop me an email at darren@darrenlaws.com. But here's the thing, I can only work with a few people at a time, and to enable me to help more businesses, and because I'm only looking for a select few that I can work with closely, I've created this podcast which enables me to get out to a bigger audience and help more people. This enables me to do more of what I believe I was born to do: solve problems and optimize processes. In future episodes, I'm going to dig into everything that I do in a business to reverse engineer that success so you can implement the same into your business and optimize your business. So look, I work with engineering and manufacturing businesses, and if you're not an engineering and manufacturing business right now, you might be thinking, is this going to work for me? Is it applicable to my business? And I can tell you it absolutely is. It's applicable to every business, whether you're a manufacturing business, a service-related business, you're an e-commerce business, software as a service business. This is business fundamentals, and it works in every business. It just needs to be implemented, thought about, and structured correctly. This structure, the processes and everything that we're talking about, it's how you set up guaranteed results. It's how the biggest companies in the world do this time and time again, and as regular as clockwork. It absolutely works in any business that you have. Before we get into too much about that, let's just dig into a little bit about me, because it's relevant to you and how I got here and why I'm here, why you might want to listen to me. Look, I'm a natural entrepreneur. I've always been interested in business. When I left school, I started to go down the classic entrepreneurial route. I had a business that was a gardening business, a local gardening business. We were going door to door and selling gardening services. I grew that business, took on a bit more work than I could handle on my own, and then started getting a friend to come in and work with me. And really, for that point in time, I'd just left school. I was earning decent money. But at that time, I didn't have the confidence in my own abilities, in my own, in knowing the path that I needed to travel. And I caved into that noise around I needed to go and get a job. I didn't have that confidence to say, screw you, I'm going down a different path. Now, a few years later, I did get to go out on my own, and I built a large property portfolio. The job route led me to engineering and manufacturing and working with big corporates, and it led me to skirting both sides of the business owner entrepreneur pathway, and it's led me to learning a lot of the fundamentals that underpin everything that I've done since. So it possibly was valuable, but I definitely, one of my biggest regrets is not seeing how far I could have pushed that business, because I certainly had the ambition and the ability, and I would have, with a bit of coaching, with the right people around me, I would have been able to grow that to significantly. We have to find our own paths. Sometimes it takes us a while to learn the route that we should be on and develop that confidence in ourselves and the headstrong attitude to just keep pushing forward and prove everybody wrong. I certainly didn't have that when I was younger. The route that I went down initially, it gave me that corporate structure. It trained me as an engineer working in manufacturing businesses. It trained me in focused improvement and lean manufacturing, and the processes and systems I learned in the corporates, I then applied into my first successful business, and I was able to see the synergies between a small business and a corporate, what worked and what didn't. I applied this in my first successful business, and this enabled me to build a large property portfolio and effectively retire before I was 30. And this, as I said, it underpins so much of what I do now to generate results consistently in smaller manufacturing, engineering businesses and other businesses as well. One of the things I currently do is work with multinational manufacturing corporations. They hire me to generate results because of my skill set and because of my experience. The systems, the processes, the improvement process. One of the things working with the huge corporations has enabled me to do is see what works and what doesn't. These corporations will spend hundreds of thousands of pounds on consultants, sometimes millions. And I've been able to sit on the shoulder of these guys, see what works and what doesn't, and then boil it down into its core, remove all the fluff and nonsense, and deploy it into small businesses, most of which I've started myself, and mainly because as I've said, I'm an entrepreneur. I have to be running my own thing and on a certain level at all times, but I also like to see what works, what is applicable from a multinational corporation, what can be taken from their huge processes and structure, what can be implemented and what works to move the needle of small business. That's where my passion is. The small businesses is absolutely where it's the bedrock of the economy. There's so many small businesses that don't have the opportunity to learn all of this kind of structure, how to systemize their businesses, how to make them more efficient, how to grow them. Small businesses employ so many people. Now, we have a obligation to help these businesses survive and to thrive and keep delivering for the local community. A small local business, the money in them businesses goes directly into the local community. It doesn't go back to a different country and a corporate head office. It's spent where the company sells its product. And we really should do more to encourage small business, to enable them to survive and thrive. So that's kind of absolutely one of the passion areas of what I do and why I'm doing this podcast. One of the examples of what works in small businesses and what doesn't and things like that, one of them is Lean Six Sigma. Now, this is the kind of standard for business improvement in the corporate world. Now, I've done black belt training, and this is the sort of highest level of Lean Six Sigma. It's quite complicated, and I would say that possibly the most of it isn't that relevant and applicable to a smaller business. It works if you're a multinational manufacturer and you are generating, if you're a Honda or a battery manufacturer with millions of units being made every year, then this kind of thing, you can implement a lot from it and make a lot of gains. But we're not talking about those 5% of gains that are still left in the company. We're talking about the 80-20 Pareto view of the 20% of actions to create the 80% of results, taking a business quickly from where it is now to a sizable leap forward by harvesting that low-hanging fruit. And I've used this time and time again to generate results in multitude of businesses. A few years ago, I was helping to set up the engineering team of a brand new factory. This was a over £200 million build of the factory. It was a big factory. A lot of money had gone into it. A lot of thought had gone into it, and we were designing the engineering function of that manufacturing company. So if we're developing something from the ground up, there's kind of two ways of doing it. You've either got a blank piece of paper or you've already got a process in place and you're trying to improve that. This time I had the benefit of having a blank piece of paper. I could do what I wanted. I also had the experience of having worked in several engineering companies, engineering workshops, in manufacturing. The approach that I took with this was trying to iron out some of them frustrations, some of the waste that I see in most processes or most engineering workshops and teams. What we want to do in a lot of our processes is reduce waste, reduce rework and waste of time. If we're searching for things like tools, if you're an engineer, you need access to a tool. If you're spending time searching for that tool, that's time that you're not spending on another task or fixing the machine or what the job that you're meant to be doing. It's wasted time, wasted effort. We want to remove that as much as possible. What I like to do is just to sit and think about, in this scenario, in this process, what would great look like? If you're building a team, following this process can really help you set up for success. Think about the team. Think about how they're going to be doing their job. Where are they going to be doing their job? How can you make that job easier for them? This is one of the things that you can get to spend your time doing if you optimize the business and get out of the day-to-day running. So often, as we said, the business owner is everything around the business, and they're flying around all over the place, spinning plates and solving problems. There's not a lot of thought that goes into building these processes, and processes build themselves, but this isn't a route to guaranteed results. It's a little bit hit and miss. So spending some time on this is going to yield us results. So if we sit and think, what would great look like? What does the team look like? How and where are they going to be doing their work? How can we make their job easier? Can we make it faster, more efficient, and allow them to get more work done in the same amount of time? In this example of the engineering workshop, we put shadow boards up around the walls of the bench where they were going to be doing a lot of the work. This part of the engineering workshop, there was a small works bench, and they would be bringing in valves and pumps and things that they could get off the kit in the factory. It was a process factory, generating sauce as a product, So the smaller items, they'd be taken back to the workshop, overhauling them, repairing them, doing various works, and that would be bench based. So around the bench, we put the shadow boards on the wall, which would allow them to access the tools that they needed quite easily. So that the shadow boards had tools all the way around them. You had a spanner on the wall. You're probably aware of a shadow board, but if you're not, the whole process is that you have if it's a spanner, or you could put a phone on the wall, you draw a picture around the phone, and then you have a different color. So you take it out and it's silhouetted, so you know that something should go in that place. Ideally, you use it, you put it straight back, but that sometimes takes a bit more management. So you can easily visually see that something's missing, then you can go and find that bit. But everything is kind of Japanese principle, everything has to have a place. As I've mentioned, one of the great wastes is time moving around, time looking for items, time walking to different locations and then back again. This adds frustration, it's unnecessary, and the time just builds up, and we lose a lot of time that could be spent in other places. So to remove all of this additional complexity and allow your team to access the tools that they need easily, ideally at arm's reach, is going to make their job easier. We want it to also be well lit so they can see everything. If it's this example of the engineering workshop, the tools are on the board, everything's well lit, everything they might need to do the tasks. If we think about what tasks they could be doing on that bench, the thought process we had with this one was, what are they going to be doing on this bench? What are the tools, the hand tools or specialist tools that they might need to perform those tasks? And can we get them on the shadow board so they are within arm's reach? So you're doing a job, you just reach out, grab the next tool, you're down. You've lost very little time in doing that. You haven't had to go and walk and root through a toolbox that's somewhere in a different location in the workshop. It's all there in front of you, visually easy to see, well lit, kind of all this stuff. This is the kind of depth of thought that you want to put into creating your processes. All of this makes the job easier. It allows people to get more work done in the same time. It also means they have more energy. A burnt out, tired workforce that needs to walk needs to put in a lot more steps due to inefficient processes is not a successful one. If your guys can get to the end of the day with nearly as much energy as they started with, their day will be way more productive. Now, this is just one example, and hopefully you can see the benefit of having this approach and thought process, and spending some time on optimizing these processes. Hopefully it's also given you some ideas that you can take away to implement straight away into your businesses. And this is what I want this podcast to be. I want it to be useful, instructional, interactive. I would love to hear from you guys. I would love to get some information about your businesses, what you might be struggling with at the moment, some of your problems. If we can do some live workshopping, that would be fantastic. But let's get some results. If you found this useful, then please like, subscribe, share. I'm going to be back in the next episode where I'm going to go deeper into my background in business, some of the successes, some of the failures, some of the business partners going to prison. It's been a bit of a wild ride. I'm going to see you next time, so stick around for that one. Cheers.